Hi, I'm Carolyn.
I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Well, hello. We are here on Monday, July 1st. I can't believe it's July.
I can't believe it's July.
And we have a warm, sunny day going on here in Northern California. We're so glad you're here with us.
June is like a golden month because we finish school and it just feels like you have all this time ahead of you. And then July hits and you're like, okay, it's going quickly. But June has been a great month. All right, what are we going to do today? We're not talking about what we're wearing because we're not wearing anything we made. Woo! At some point it just gets hot and it's just like idea of putting on knitwear. I'm like, no. We have some FFOs. We have finishes. Anna has been finishing a lot of things. A couple whips. I don't know, a little few plans here and there. A little share supplies, thumbs up.
And we haven't seen each other that much, so I can't wait to see Carolyn's.
I know. I have my East Coast son. His family is out for a month, and so we're about right in the middle of that. They've been here for 2 weeks. So just been doing a lot of family, granddaughter, a lot of 4 of the granddaughters all together. That's fun.
I feel like we're sort of far away from
I know,
each other.
that's why we're over here.
But it is hot.
Like, my house is a little bit wild. It's nap time right now, so we're like, I'm out. Good. Okay, let's see. What do we have going on? What's going on with you? Any comments or anything? Our laptop with our episode notes are down below, so we're looking down.
We had some visitors, and in fact, so I had one of my grandchildren and my daughter visit, and then our oldest sister Joan was visiting, and I have one still photo because she's always up to something. I said, "Did you bring your fruits of plenty?" And she goes, "No." She is making these wire creatures. She's just starting with this long length of wire with pliers. So as she was visiting, I don't know, right before dinner or something, we were all hanging out. She's going like this and making a wire creature. And she's also been doing free form embroidery on these pieces of linen that she's going to make into a book. So here's a still photo of the pages of her book and one of her wire creatures.
Do you remember?
Always inspiring.
She was inspired by a woman on Instagram that does the stitching and then makes the fabric books. Do you remember who she was? Okay, I think we follow her. If we can find that, we'll put that right down here.
So she hasn't been cross stitching much, but she's always making something. It's fun to see. So we've had so much fun with our grandchildren so far this summer, and more to come. Really fun.
We had one day where 6 of the 7 were here, and we're not going to show it to you, but we actually got a photo with all 6 and nobody was crying. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and as far as comments, our last video was our, what do you call it, Stitch and Chat?
Our Stitch with Us. I don't know if it has a formal name.
We mentioned, one of the questions was about a round robin, and we had put out like, what do you all know about having a round robins? And some great ideas came up of things people have either done themselves or have seen in terms of a round robin. Several around things that are geometric, like a Quaker piece or an ink circles piece where each person does a section, or each person picks a color, and whatever they stitch on each person's piece is that color.
Oh, that's a neat idea. I missed that part of it. Okay.
Somebody mentioned doing a band sampler, and each person does a band. And then this was an idea, I hope I'm understanding this correctly. Before you send your piece out, you draw some squares or some rectangles, or I don't know, start with a rectangle and subdivide it. And then you might pick a theme like I would like a bird in each of my sections. And then as it travels around, each person stitches what you have asked for in a section. So that will take some sort of creative thinking. It's very a little more open-ended.
The people in the group would want to be able to be like, okay, I'm just going to find a bird on one of my samples. That's kind of neat. So probably the owner maybe makes some kind of grid, like how sometimes you have those grid pieces and then you fill it in.
Right.
Somebody might say, oh, I want alphabet letters here.
So I don't know if it was like that or whether they just outlined like a square here or a rectangle here, but there was some sort of designating spaces and then people filling the space with what the owner chose as the theme.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So lots of fun ideas with that. Okay, good. I know one thing from 2 videos ago that we made a mistake. I can't remember if we corrected it or not.
I don't think so
We
yet.
were talking about,
Did you pull that up?
Oh, we were going to talk about it down here.
Oh, I thought you had made a note down there. Was it at the top of it?
I remember what it was.
Okay.
We were saying that the model stitcher for Hands Across the Sea that has a maker's mark was Kim. Now I'm going to miss it. Gosh. But it was wrong. It was the...
Oh, here we go.
Okay. It's the Contented Stitcher is the model stitcher, not the Contented Needleworker, Kim G. So I had those mixed up, and the model stitcher for hats, her maker's mark is 2 bees, 2 little bees. Okay. Corrected.
Sorry.
Do we want to toast anything?
Let's just toast to the start of July, the heart of the summer.
Heart of the summer. We're
Cheers,
having our fills. I think we were talking about this before. I'm really into this. It's called a honey haze. So it's cold brew with oat milk, which I've never had before, and honey. So good. My friend got me hooked on this, and then I've since got one of my daughters-in-law and Lynn, she had it the other morning.
Oh, really?
One of our sisters hooked. I think Joan also had it when she was here.
Okay.
It's
I haven't
really,
tasted it yet.
it's really a distinctive. Do you want to taste?
Sure.
Live. It's good. Isn't
That's
it?
tasty.
Yeah.
It's kind of nutty tasting.
It is. I think that's the coffee. I think the coffee
think
part
you're
of the
right.
cold brew. I think it's like a nutty, chocolatey flavor.
Yeah.
And then the oat milk and the honey on top.
Those are exactly the notes I'm getting.
So it almost tastes like a dessert.
And I know every time we mention our fancy coffees or our flavorful coffees, people are like, I drink mine black. What are you all doing? So I actually enjoy both.
Yeah. And I am no longer really a coffee drinker in the morning. Like I'm totally like tea now. So this kind of beverage is more like a afternoon desserty kind of beverage.
It's like a lemonade or something. That sort of category of thing.
Just taking those little sips.
I had an Arnold Palmer the other
Okay,
day.
yeah.
They're so good.
I know, but it's really hard to say that.
I know.
Does anybody else find Arnold Palmer? You go to order it and you're like, can I have iced tea and lemonade, please?
We had one vacation where a few couples were together and we were ordering a lot of those at lunch, and I got to the point where I could not even order it because I'd either start to laugh or I would mess it up even worse. Arnold
Palmer. Yeah.
All right, let's do some fully finishes.
Let's do some fully finishes.
This is where you were on total roll.
So my first fully finish is The Sweetness of Spring. And this is designed by Scattered Seed Samplers. And this is her kit. I mean, not her kit, her subscription. And it's 3 over the course of the year. And I saw someone on Instagram posted a picture of what the second one is.
I was going to say, did you get your second one yet?
I have not gotten my second one yet. I think she probably sends them out. Why are you looking worried?
I'm looking worried because I'm dividing the year divided by 3 and thinking.
Yeah, she just, okay. Well, I'm anticipating getting my second one, so I'm like, I'm going to finish my first one. So this one was finished as a round pillow. And here's my round, and the fabric on the back came. Let me get her up a little closer.
Turned out great.
It really, and you know, I sewed it by hand. I'm not being picky here. I'm just speaking fact. It's just hard to get a smooth round. And I stuff it with wool roving, and then when it's done, I put a hot iron on it, and then I smush it down a little bit.
Yeah, this is pretty thin.
And it's
like, I kind of want to go like that with it.
I did not want a thick pillow. I wanted a flatter, like, disc. All right, so our sister Susan, lost everything down the side. She gave us these baskets for Christmas and this little bird. So I've been like thinking, what am I going to put in this basket?
Yeah.
So I finished this round.
No way.
And it fits perfectly.
That looks fantastic, Carolyn.
Look.
And look, even the dark brown edge on the basket.
So what I ended up doing with the basket is I just put some of the wool roving and then put just a little piece of batting to kind of help it prop up.
That's hilarious.
And then, so when I finish this, I'm like that, and then I have my little.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to stitch this bird, and I have the exact same basket, so I might.
Doesn't that look good?
This is what Carolyn was working on when we went on our trip to Arizona.
Mm-hmm. So
it looks better than good. It looks fabulous.
And again, the edges are a little ripply.
A little bit.
A little bit. I mean, and I think I did it as close as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, should I put a little trim around it just to even up that? But as soon as I put it in the basket, I'm like, nope, problem solved, because you really can't see the rippliness.
Yeah, and I don't think the ripples are a problem. Like sometimes I might notice something, but it doesn't bother me. And sometimes I notice something and think like, ooh, that might be worth correcting. This is in the totally fine.
Oh, I'm not going to correct it. I'm not sure with the circle.
Not even corrected. Not even to correct.
I don't know if you could get it much smoother than that unless you put a piece. Like, I'm wondering if next time I would have put a little thin piece of mat board. But then with the pillow, does that affect it? Or if I had put some interfacing in it?
I'm going to try some oval soon, so I'll have to decide what I'm going to try.
And the next one is really cute. It's a similar style bird. I think it has some more blues in it. So I'm going to try to do each installment and finish it before I get the next one.
What shape is the next one?
I think it's a square or a rectangle. Just going to show it one more time. Okay, so
I want you to go look in your mailbox and make sure it's.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to go back and look, see if I can find that Instagram post on that. Or maybe I should go to the Etsy site and just see if they've mailed them yet.
And you're right, they could be rolling out.
Because we got this one in March. So we could get
April,
one.
May, June. Oh yeah, so it might be on its way.
Like July and then maybe in October or something like that.
I'm not worried anymore.
Okay, good. And so I kept the palette with the DMC if you want to do it.
Thank you.
And the details on this is it was on Vintage Country Mocha and called for DMC.
It looks great.
I know, I can't help but hold it up. It was so fun to stitch.
Okay.
My next finish is I had ordered 3 frames from Signed and Numbered, and they came just a couple of days ago. So I framed my first from those frames, and this is GBH 1857. And first let me show the frame finish. I'll give you the details for that. All right, so this is designed by Modern Folk Embroidery, and the linen is 36 count vintage sand dune by Lakeside. And I did my own Roxy floss conversion. I looked at the picture and it wasn't even like a symbol for symbol conversion. Like I think somebody said, oh, what's your conversion? I'm like, I can't even give it to you. I just had a palette and I was just picking colors. So one symbol might have ended up being 3 different colors on the piece.
I've heard other people say that too. I think sometimes conversions are very easy to share, and sometimes it's just.
And I didn't even keep track. It was more like, here is my ring, my palette, and I picked from that. I am really happy with the Signed and Numbered, them as a company and their frames. So they if you go to their Etsy site, it's just standard sizes, but you can just send them a message and say, here's my viewing size. I want this frame in this size.
That's the key thing to know, I think. If you just went to the website, you might not realize that.
And they're wonderful. Usually within like 2 hours, what they do is they put out a special listing for you. And then you just go in and buy that listing and it has your sizes on it.
It's clever.
And this is their Pee-wee frame, and it was hardwood, so it's a really nice wood.
It's really pretty.
It's done. I picked the cherry for this. And for these thin Pee-wees, they can't put foam core, so they give you a piece of acid-free mat board. So I laced it on the mat board and that.
And how is the thickness of the mat board similar to what we get at Michael's? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And then for this one, I was stitching it, and I was just like, this just reminds me of our sister Joan. So I personalized it with her date and her initials. And I'm gonna wrap this up and send it to her. Just wanted to show you first.
What a fun surprise. She has no idea, right?
Well,
I don't think she's watching.
If she watches the video.
No.
Also, I did post this in our story. So if she looks at our stories and is like, oh, that's me. But she may not look at that detail. We don't know. I love this frame. And one of the things I think we talked about maybe in our one of the past videos is about our grandfather, who was a real carpenter and made almost all the furniture in their house, unless it was upholstered, and he made a lot of frames. So do you have Pa's
So let me run and get it.
frame? So Anna just brought out, and she's like, oh, I have one of Pa's frames if we want to use it. But it just gave me the feel of Pa. Just really, really simple wood
This is
frame.
a walnut frame. I think I found an old ship that I had cross-stitched. Did I show it 2 videos ago?
Yeah.
I think this is the same size as that one.
This is thinner. I think, grab your
Actually,
ship.
it's right there.
Yeah.
I think maybe I was going to make 2 of them.
Oh.
This has a little...
Is the frame thinner?
I think you made them at the same time.
Oh, yeah, okay. But the same idea is just a really nice, thin wood frame. Okay. So
This is gonna be like a little bonus. Whoever of
Needs
us,
that size.
where this would make sense. Let's use it.
Yeah.
Look, he even has like the holes where the
For hanging
hanging.
Yeah.
And there's his handwriting of like 4-4-3-3 to match the mitered corners.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, fun find.
So I have 2 more to frame with signed and numbered, and I'll probably do that over the next week, and I'll show you in the next video. So really, really happy with this. I gotta tell you though, I totally agree with the people that say whenever you have, like a straight line, it's hard to get that laced. You're never gonna get it exactly.
Right. And then you think like, if you didn't do it, would you miss it? I don't know. I tend to like things like that. I think it's like a quilt binding for me. It kind of goes to the piece. Oh, well, here you have those rectangles hanging down, so that would be kind of important.
Yeah. But
really nice.
Yeah,
I feel like you are really in a groove. You have some ways of finishing that are working well for you, and they're looking quite professional, sister.
Thank you. I'm really happy I tried, because the other ones I've tried from Signed and Numbers have been painted wood frames. So I'm glad they have maybe like 4 or 5 hardwoods that you can get, and I'm so glad. I will definitely. And part of it is I think I just like the simple look.
It's because we grew up with that style.
I think so, and I think again it just reminds me of Pa. I mean, as soon as I got this, I'm like, oh, this looks like a Pa frame. And again, this is their Pee-wee frame. It comes in wood, and it also comes in painted wood, and they must have about 30 to 40 different colors of painted wood. I know at first I thought I was going to do a painted one in this sort of dusty blue, but then I'm like, I'm going to do a wood.
I think either would be great.
Those are my 2 FFOs. Okay, now we've got some finished objects. Anna has a lot.
Well, this one, whoopsie, dropping things. This one was almost finished. Last time we had a regular video. It's the Feathered Nest Pin Book by Stacy Nash with the hashtag Katie Strachan Kit ingredients. And, oops, I didn't bring my board. There we go. Just the bird needs the beaded eyeball still. And this is the oval I'm going to try soon.
Oh, good.
So I'll see. I
Well,
have to think about the curves.
Does that one have, because it's a pin book, does it have a little piece of mat board behind it?
I can't remember. And I know Katie has a video, so I need to go consult that. I might not make it into a needle book. There's this beautiful piece of...
Oh, they're cardboard ovals. Did they come with cardboard ovals?
I think I have to make them. But I have to... I don't feel them in there, but maybe they are in there.
Okay. So it's like a glue stick with a cardboard. Okay.
Yeah, so that's done.
So I think having that little bit of the sharper edge inside.
So to me, these are just a joy in every way, shape, and form. I loved every stitch. But now I'm just not sure. I might just finish it kind of like an ornament with just a loop of the ribbon.
So this is interesting. I mean, another option is you could make it not even open at all. You could make it like an oval flat fold, or just like an oval cookie where you have...
Right, that's what I mean. And then maybe like a herringbone stitch along the outside or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Although if it's cardboard that's in there, I guess cardboard's... You know what? Cardboard instead of mat board, because the cardboard's still going to have just a little bit of flexibility to it.
Or do I make it 2 separate ornaments? I really don't know why. I don't just want to follow the directions because I have a beautiful Liberty of London fabric in here too.
Oh, to put on the inside?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I may end up doing exactly what Katie suggests. I don't know. Anyway, it was very fun to stitch, and it reminds me how much I, love legacy linen.
It is a really nice count, isn't it? Just gonna put them up a little closer. And again, I love that, the organic and then the geometric.
Right. Okay. There's a piece of me of like, finish it this summer, Anna.
Anna, I was gonna challenge you to FFO it by the next video.
Okay.
Because this is the time you have some time. You can do a little bit every day.
Right.
For that. All right, Feathered Nest Pin Book. All right, you're up next.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
All right, this one was just like a start and a finish since our last video. I have been really interested in doing a little alphabet sampler, partly because one of my grandchildren is just really enamored by the alphabet. There's just no two ways about it.
And is she still as into the alphabet as she was when you were visiting?
She's really into it. So I realized, oh my goodness, I already have one. So I am in love with this Inspired by Nature pattern by Quaint Rose Needlearts. And there are 3 patterns, one of which is this sweet little alphabet sampler. And it has a ladybug. So she was the one who was visiting a couple weeks ago. And so I'm like, I'm going to stitch a few letters and see if she even recognizes them in cross stitch. And she was, A, B, C, and then she was like leaf, ladybug. So she liked naming the things at the bottom too.
Oh, good.
So this is done.
I think you were stitching on this, Anna, during our stitch with us.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I was. So I've already told that story.
Yeah. No, I think you're not at your good elaboration here. Oh, here's the ladybug.
This is 36 count seaweed, and this is Buckeye Scarlet. And this is the finished piece. It's really cute. And about halfway through, I'm like, these are not like traditional colors that you would use for a child's piece. It sort of cracked me up. And I said to my daughter, like, this is kind of what I had, because I already had all these supplies set aside. And she totally called me out. She said, Mom, all those things that you and Aunt Carolyn hold up, I think you probably would have had some other choices if you wanted to make some other choices. Not that she was dissatisfied with this, but you wait till you see what I'm going to back it with. And I gotta get wool roving from you.
Okay.
So Toddler E loves bunnies and loves yellow. And I have this Charlie Harper.
Oh.
There's bunnies in her neighborhood. She loves yellow, and there's Eastern cottontails in her neighborhood. So I know that's kind of wild.
Actually,
but she's just gonna.
And the green of the green and the bunny is a good match with the your seaweed fabric.
So I'm gonna declare that I'm gonna have this done by our next video too.
Okay. I want to borrow this pattern when you're done, because I really want to do that one. Yeah, that bird.
I think each of those 3 are fabulous.
You gotta get back to this one, Anna.
Yeah, that's one of the. I think if I don't touch it this summer, that's maybe what I'm going to do for Sampler September. Because I had so much fun connecting the 2 different fabrics and.
Did you use the seaweed? Oh, okay, so that's where you got your piece from.
Yeah.
Okay, super cute. I mean, you definitely want to finish that one, because when you go to visit this summer, you want to take that to her. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, what's next?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right.
Wait till you see.
My finish is I finished Emeline Hotchkiss, 1846. And this is the project, got at the attic, and this is my gift project. So it was so special to me, and I almost stitched this monotonously. Once I started, I did not put it down. I also personalized it a little differently. So I personalized it. This is our paternal grandmother, and her name was Quill. And then she has 3 ancestors. I'm one of the 3 with the middle name Quill. So I'm calling this the Quill Sampler. And what I did, here, I'll show you the piece. I'm going to give you my details, and then I'll tell you how I personalize. It's so funny, the linen it's better color for sure back here. And it moves in the color.
It seems to be.
It starts to turn brown.
What happens?
We lose some of the yellow. Okay, so this pattern was designed by Kathleen Littleton, Cross Stitch Antiques. I'm stitching it on 40 count Madeline by Miss Crescent Crown Linens. Love the linen. And I stitched with almost pretty much the called for 103s with a few added colors, and I'll show you those in a minute. And the stitching, it was 261 by 187 high, and this is the Stitching Emeline Sal. All right, so for our grandmother, in the center, Quill Walker Fisher, and has her birth and death dates. And then along here are the 3 of her ancestors, our initials and our birth years. So my generation, 1 generation down, and then 2 generations down. So we gotta keep this going. So for the other 2 quills, when I'm gone, they'll get first choice of doing this, having this and passing it and keeping it with the quills. Absolutely.
It's a beautiful idea for personalization. I think a lot of people in our family are really enjoying the way you do this.
So I've done some over 1 before, but this was over 1 on 40. It was okay. It was okay. It was okay. Anna had Swassafine, so I definitely used the Swassafine instead of the 103. And she had a few colors that I just kind of picked in the red or rusty orangey variations for that.
Turned out great.
What I found is I could do like 1 thing a day. So I did that one day, or I did maybe grandmother's name or her birth or death date. And after that, it would take me like a long time. It's not hard. It's just slow and steady. I can't do the sewing method, so I'm definitely, up and down, up and down.
And maybe a little bit more concentration. I think this is a good reminder for us all, is that sometimes it's okay to just do a little bit one day, a little bit the next day, sort of spread out some of these, what do we call them? Like intense, more intense.
Yeah, and I didn't do it at night. Like I would find a time during the day where I would just sit down and do it. Since before my son's family arrived, I had that done. All right. And then we've been talking a lot about doing our Maker's Mark. So here I did my first version of my Maker's Mark, and not surprisingly, it's a Q. Us quills are very attached to our quill.
I mean, Q is a fun initial to be able to
use. And this one I just kept really simple. I've done a couple of different mock-ups depending. So I did the simple. Do I want to put the date? Another variation for the date. There, incorporate CQS, my full initials. So I have a couple variations that I might use along the way.
Why did you choose not to put 2024 on this?
Okay, I was thinking about doing 2024 maybe over here, but then I'm like, there are already so many dates on here.
That's what I was wondering.
I'll put on the back when it was stitched. I felt like that was not an important element of the sampler when I stitched it. And again, I can be recorded on the back. I wanted to really highlight the dates of the quills.
Yes.
So for that. And I had toyed with also, I was thinking I was going to put the first and last name initial of the person who gifted this to me. I thought that would be fun. And then A and N for attic needlework. But then I just felt like there was already so much going on. I'll write that also on the back to remember that. So this one I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to frame it in a floating frame. And so I'll go ahead and lace it on foam core first, because you need to have that dimension really set before I order my floating frame.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Highly recommend. If anybody's on the fence for this one, so much fun from beginning to end. And I think other people stitching it are feeling the same way. So I'll just quickly show you the palette. This was the palette, the colors I added, and I've had this in other videos. I'll also scroll along the bottom. The dark gold, and I replaced the light gold with it sometimes, and then this more muted orange, I put it in for the bright orange in a few places. Let's see if you can see. So the 2 golds, you can really see them up here in this apple tree, and the 2 oranges, you can see that in, I'm calling it the peach tree.
We've had several of our Canadian fellow cross-stitchers say in Canada, lemons and oranges would not be grown. So we've tried to shift to apples or peaches. Yeah.
Like, we're north of Vermont, and it's funny, I know like it's north, but citrus is such a common tree for us. I just sort of forget,
it's in almost everyone's backyard.
Oh,
kind of thing. It was fascinating to me when I moved to California to see all the
citrus is all over the place. Okay, so Emeline Hotchkiss, aka the Quills.
It's one of those ones I could look at it for a long time. Keep that out for a while.
Okay. Well, no, I'm getting it finished, fully finished.
All right, and then our last finish is the matrilineal line sampler that I've been working on for a long, I guess it was my New Year's start, or my blessing sampler.
Right.
Scarlet Berries by the Scarlet House. Ooh. So here's the pattern. And this is on Weeks Cocoa and with the Weeks overdyed cottons. And here it is. Here. Oh, thanks. So a couple of things.
Here, do you want me to hold it up and then
Sure.
you can? Okay.
So this band in here are the initials of our matrilineal line. This person, Maria, was born in 1720, so it goes back to
It's incredible.
1720. I left off some numbers and letters here to put the initials of my 4 sisters. And then there are extra initials here. When you're talking about adding, not adding things to Emeline, I did add things to this, of my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter, my son's daughter.
Okay, so they're not part of our matrilineal
Right,
line.
so this stripe is the true matrilineal line, and then some other women I love so much I had to put them on. And then the 2024. Here's what I think. I might not be quite done, because
Okay.
what is calling to me is adding the initials of our aunt who raised our mother. And I'm wondering, I actually want your opinion about.
And she's also on she was our grandmother's sister, so she's part of the matriarchal line.
I was named after my grandmother and her sister.
Right,
So-
Anna and Helen.
So I found a picture of her holding me on my baptism day.
Oh my gosh,
And wait
Anna.
Wait till you see, Carolyn. I don't know if you all are going to be able to see. Look at the embellishment on her clothing. Look how Pennsylvania Dutch it is. Like, I have the goosebumps.
It's like the
have the
carnation flowers.
So I think.
Oh my gosh, I remember those curtains. There's something about those curtains I remember. I wonder if they're in Mom and Dad's house.
So I thought I was done, and then sometimes you just have that feeling. It's like this little
Put her on.
voice, this
Put her-
little
put her
voice.
on for
so
sure.
So she's going on, and so I just need to decide where. I think I have my preferred place, but
What are you thinking?
well, I want to hear your ideas first, unless you want to hear my ideas
Okay,
first.
okay. I'll share my idea. So AB is our grandmother, and she passed away when my mother was an infant. What if you put her, Helen, over one, right around AB?
Oh my gosh!
So, and
I
it's
hadn't
over
thought
one,
of
so
that.
it's sort of like,
So just put the H in there because they have this. Oh, it would be a different B, but
Right.
but it happens to be the B. Okay.
yeah. So either that, or, because you could do her an over one. Not that she's less important, but she is not in the direct line.
We kind of
but
integrate
she-
her in there a little bit.
Mhm. Okay, what were you thinking?
I was thinking perhaps vertically right here and taking that motif out.
I want to point that out again. I was looking.
Yeah. Maybe putting her here, HB. But then I didn't know if that would be like two,
So, yeah.
two East Coast, East, West, North, South.
What if you... And were you going to do it over one down here? Because she's
No.
not going to fit.
No, she'll fit, I think. If I take this, I would take that motif out.
She's not going to fit at this size.
Oh, I would take these out.
Oh, those alphabet letters. Okay, what if you took out the flower and put her up here? Because this is really the important women in your family that are not matrilineal. So
Yeah.
she does sort of belong up in this band.
But I might do her this size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't thought about taking the
So
flower
whether
out.
that same idea of the vertical, but took this flower, or take that out and put her right here.
Okay,
I like that idea a lot. I like that.
so I'm going to have to
even
sit on that for a little bit.
over in this area, because she's near her sister and her niece.
Right.
Oh, I can't believe you have that picture, Anna.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
We can make a copy of it if you want. I just couldn't believe it when I saw the Pennsylvania Dutch.
And I don't
motifs
know,
on her
we
jacket.
might be inserting a picture here, but if you look up here, it's stitched, and it's like those carnations. I'm wiggling around. You probably can't see it. So cool. Because she probably died, Anna, you were born in 62. I think she died in 64 or 65. I have a vague memory of visiting her in the hospital. I love stitching history. Okay, this is another thing. Let's go back. I don't know if you feel the same way. Stitching, like grandmother's name or our quill initials, it felt really good. There was an added je sais quoi to that I really liked.
Yes,
So.
I know what you mean.
I just want to say one more thing. I forgot about this till I saw it. About somebody recommended another part of my maker's mark would maybe be like a letter, not a letter, a quill pen, like a feather. And then I remembered somebody had made this for my grandmother, and then I got it when she passed away. And it says Quill's Quota, and it had this really simple feather there for the quill. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I think this was either stenciled on or painted.
It almost looks like the puff paint or something.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I need a big bag for my quota. No. Okay. Good.
All right, so we have you have some works in progress.
I have some, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so the first one I'm going to show is, may I have my board back, please?
Sure.
This is, I would call this Yaya's sampler. This is from my husband's side of the family by marriage. And here I'll show you, this is the photo of the original. And this was stitched by his cousin's grandmother. And she lived in Greece. No, excuse me. She was a Greek living in Egypt at the time. And my husband just has a really fond memory of seeing it on his uncle's wall. And I have it in, have you seen Grace, the Paisley Stitcher? You know how she's been doing floss tubers for a day? One of hers was berry. So it was so
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, it was just so fun to hear people's stories of how they get into things. So fun. So this is my berry bag. And here is Yaya's sampler. I'm making good progress.
Oh, you
on
are.
This. I feel like I kind of want to really finish it. Of course, I don't mean it that way, but I'm feeling like this might be one that I'm just going to keep out and keep working on. So I've kind of finished everything over here, and I'm now kind of working down. And the details for this is it's on 36 count brown paper by XG Designs, and I'm using Gloriana Silk in Schoolhouse Red.
The famous Schoolhouse Red.
The famous Schoolhouse, and as it should be, very famous. This sampler just has so many neat things. Like, just one thing I want to highlight is every border is different. So across the top, down the side, across the bottom, and here. The bottom border, yeah, there it is. I do have some of it complete. So just like little details like that, and all the alphabets and the different things that fill in. Okay. This is my focus whip. I do a weekly focus whip a few weeks ago. I think it was before we filmed our Stitch With Us. So I haven't touched this in a couple of weeks. But.
You are reaching that point too where you can just sort of, I can almost imagine it finished.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really think, I support your idea of just going for that finish.
Yeah. There was that, somebody had a sal in June where it was just like, take a piece out and stitch on it till you're finished. And I felt like Emeline too, like you're just like, I'm just gonna stitch on this till I'm finished. So this one, I'm kind of feeling the same way. All right, so that's Yaya's sampler. She's going down here.
I think I have yet to have the experience of just stitching something larger, not a small, until it's finished. I tend to work on it for a week and a half, and then cycle to the next thing.
Yeah. All right, so my next one is a peacock, a unicorn, a badger. And I've been working on this almost monogamously for 2 weeks. And part of it is because we've had another family in our household with small kids, not as much stitching time. And I find there's so much variation. Maybe if we're all sitting around talking or hanging out, I'm filling in the background. Or if I have a little time, I'm outlining. So it was just good. I could pick it up and there was something I could do no matter what our situation was. And here is the well-known chart by Scarlet Letter. It's been so fun. So many people are stitching on this, and there's a whole group too that are stitching on it on like a green linen, so they're not stitching it as full coverage. And I'm just going to quickly show the chart. It's fantastic. It's full color. It's really easy to follow. It's a good quality book.
I'm just going to add that those of us who aren't stitching it at all are just love to see everyone's progress. And those of you who are stitching, it's just magnificent.
Yeah. And I'm using my called for Schwaderger with my steps before stitches on that. And just the colors.
Man, when you hold up silk, it's different than cotton.
I really do like to pet it. It feels good. And for this, what I'm finding to try to take care of my silk, let me see if I have any of these to kind of have it. What I do, and so I'm not always pulling out of the big chunk, I'll pull out like a set, I think it's 8-stranded. I'll pull out an 8-stranded piece and put that on separately, and then I'll pull each of those out, and then I'll get a next X8 and then pull each of those out. And then keeping it in my bag, I have a bag within a bag, very well known for me. So that way I just have my silk in there. So it's not like rubbing against the paper and everything. So
great.
That's how I'm trying to care for myself. And here is where I am.
Yeah, like hold it up already.
I know. Stop talking.
The tapestry-like nature of it just gets me every time.
It's, I need to fold this in half. It's, it's big and it's slow and steady. You might be like, oh, is that a lot of progress? It really is.
You know what's popped into my head? I have a William Morris needlepoint book. I'm like, couldn't I just take a needlepoint pattern from that book and do a full coverage?
Yeah. Carolyn of Evertotes is about to start, I think it's a William Morris. It's like the bunnies. It's a famous one.
William and Morris or William?
You always say William and Morris.
Yeah, sorry.
And so she's doing a full coverage one. Now, I don't know if it was a cross stitch or if it's the same thing, if it's like a needlepoint. She's about to start it. Must have been cross stitch because she said I'm using the called for DMC. So the main areas, done a lot of outlining. I kind of was working a lot up here, finishing that, and this one. Now, one thing I'm noticing about this, I don't think we should be calling this a peacock, a unicorn, a badger. I think we need to call it a peacock, a unicorn, and a lot of caterpillars. So this person, whenever they needed to fill something in, I have one just, you can see this one's outlined down here.
I've never noticed that.
I know, you wouldn't until you have to stitch it. And if you look all over, like here, there are like 3 or 4 different caterpillars just in this area. So there's about to be another caterpillar in here.
How funny.
I sort of feel
I like them.
I feel like the caterpillars, they're like, oh, we got a little empty space here. Oh, let's put a caterpillar in.
It's like people with their sampler walls, like they need the long, thin pieces.
Yeah, let me see. There's 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's mainly on this side. Okay, so maybe it's just where I am. There are 3 caterpillars. Boop, boop, boop. And then they have some moths around. So. This one, too, is fun to stitch because I'm like, I will finish it, but it's not like, oh, I gotta finish it or this gotta be a finish. I'm just working away on it happily. Whatever I do, I do.
And you know how we talked about sometimes putting in framework keeps us from feeling like overwhelmed by how much is left. Do you feel ever that feeling of like I have so much left? And how are you avoiding that? Or it's just not happening?
It's not happening.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. Becky of Becky House of Sewing, she will take a section and she first does all the outlining, which I think is really smart because then all the counting is done. And then she colors it and then she does her background. So I've been sort of doing more mixing and matching because she says she also has plenty of time where she's like, oh, I need some fill-in. So she's like, okay, then this is my fill-in. She has made great progress. She is well over halfway done.
She is?
Oh, she's working it across. So she's done a full band across and then everything in the second band except for the background. I think she's almost down to the water. I can just look at it all day. And it's also interesting how colors look and then you put the background around it and it sort of mutes down everything.
I thought it might do the opposite, like make it really pop.
Like for example, this green, even comparing it on this side without the background and that side with the background. Just not as much contrast, understandably. Okay. And I'm stitching this on 36 count Zweigart flax. I'm very happy. I'll probably keep working on it for the next couple of weeks while the family is still here.
It's great to see your progress.
Those are my whips.
All right, moving on to plans.
Oh, what's that? Are you gonna show that one?
This is part of my plans.
Oh.
It is actually a whip, but
Okay.
I'll tell you the story in just
Okay.
a second. So first on my plans list is the Weeds and Wildflowers pattern that is celebrating Caroline of Evertoad, her 50th birthday. Hashtag Caroline50Sal, and her birthday's July 7th. True confession, I started mine. I decided not to show it until after the birthday girl
Oh,
has
that's
a
good.
start.
Yeah.
She did say in her, there are no rules, but and it was just what I felt like I needed when school was over, and I started it. And Carolyn had some hesitation about starting it before July 7th, and I think that sort of rubbed off on me a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let the birthday girl show hers, and then we'll show.
Okay,
our
I like
progress
saving
the
it.
next time.
So I actually came over one day and we started it together, and I was like, for me, it just didn't feel right. But it was really fun, and so I actually just put mine away too. So that's a good idea. We'll show, and have you done any more on it besides that one day?
Yes,
Okay.
I have done a little bit more. I feel like I need to get educated about the Sal. What's the right word? Not like rules, but like etiquette.
And she has said, I think, start at any time. And obviously they sent the boxes out like way early. So I'm sure people are starting it. But it just, to me, it just felt a little funny.
We'll give it its full love in our next video. So that's part of my plans. And then my 56 count pieces are calling back to me. I was missing a few of my colors for the Betsy Fisk sampler. And now they're in. And so just last night, I was filling in with this.
Oh, Anna, that's incredible.
You want to hold that up?
Yeah.
This was one of the Surfines that I was missing. It's the darker pink. And
oh, yeah.
So I filled in here, did that motif, filled in there and there, did this little pink in here. That was all that darker pink. So I was so excited to see what it was going to look like. And boy, I just really like stitching on 56 count. I love how dainty and delicate this is. So I think I will probably work on the Betsy Fisk sampler some more.
And it's hard to get a feeling of how small it is, on camera.
I keep getting attracted to pink things, and this is not disappointing. It's like, it's very pink. I just think it's super cool.
Yeah. Hold that up again, because you can also start to see you have a good chunk. Like that's a big
done.
Yeah. So this is not a huge sampler.
Yes. Right. I would call this a
what's the
medium.
size? Does it have the stitch count?
Oh, I probably wrote it. Oh no, I don't have it there. Oh, 193 by 146.
Okay. Yeah. That's really
So like that's what I wanted to stitch tonight.
So as we were talking about like over one, for example, like doing small bits, do you feel the same way about your 56? Can you only do a small bit at a time?
The first time I tried 56, which was your rain, no, I guess it was an initial, but your rain ornament, that's how I felt, like 2 or 3 strands. I don't feel that way at all anymore.
Wow. So
But
it's just like
I remember
anything else.
I do use a big magnifying light, and there was no way I would enjoy it without it. My biggest mistake, and I think it's happened 3 times already on this sampler, is that I tend to go over 3 threads, which you really can barely even notice. So,
but it would throw everything off, and then everything around it would have to be over.
So last night I just found a spot from my previous stitching maybe a month ago where I'd gone over 3. And I am deciding to take that out and to redo that. So that's the thing I have to be careful about.
And how about like when you take out, it's got to be hard to.
It's a little harder, but it's really just not. I have this sort of patient part of me that just doesn't mind going a little more slowly, or if it's a little harder to take out. I just don't mind.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Then also, I have a few things for my grandchildren that are almost done, that just need the personalization or just need the fully finish.
Like the dogs. Are you going to finish the dogs? Yeah.
I'm hoping to
Or
work
Sir
on those.
Dandy. Have you ever finished Sir Dandy?
Like, Toddler E I think I have her first name in, and that's it. Okay. So,
yeah, good.
and then I also want to sew a dress. So I have chosen this pattern. It's the Trini woven dress pattern by Style Arc. And it's this style. So I have some sort of waffle weave fabric that I've picked. It's a long dress, and just like the model, I'm hoping to wear it with sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to cut that out today, actually.
Oh, do you have your fabric?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So I've been kind of cutting out my pattern pieces and getting that going.
Good.
What about your plans? Are they? Oh,
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
no, I'm done. That's a
Is
shared
that okay?
supply.
Okay, good. I haven't really thought too much about this. I'm definitely going to keep going on a peacock, a unicorn, and a bunch of caterpillars. That's going to just sort of over the next couple of weeks keep working on that. I think I'll probably keep going on Yaya Sampler. I'm feeling the need though of like pulling out a small. I'm hoping I get my scattered seeds.
It'll be waiting for you when you get home.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny? So
Can you just hold that up one more time? That is so pretty in the basket.
I know. Do you believe how well that fit when I put that in?
I mean,
last
what
night?
even gave you the idea? Did you pass by it and think like, oh, I wonder if that would fit? Or...
I've been thinking about like what I wanted to put some sort of cross stitch in this basket, and then I think also when I was thinking about my edges, I'm like, well, what would it look like if I put it in something for my edges? And I'm like, well, what about that basket?
Mm-hmm.
Worked great. Yeah, so I think it's hard to think about plans. It's also with the kids here, like that. Or we have a 3-bedroom house, as a lot of Californians have, and so 2 of the bedrooms have been like the families in there, and I actually put all my cross stitch stuff kind of in consolidated. Some of it in our bedroom, and I have one little space out. So I also don't have everything like sort of out and about. So just I'm kind of like what is out is what I'm kind of working on
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I totally
Who
get
knows? We'll find out in 2 weeks for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any shared supplies?
I have one thing. I can't remember what I was getting at Kitten Stitcher, but you know how she was having that sale where some charts were $5? This EB sampler by Sheepish Antiques, which is, what's the copyright?
You know when it has a phone number, it's old.
1989.
Oh my gosh.
It's funny. I lean towards these old samplers sometimes. I think I really like samplers. I know I really like samplers that have letters and motifs and no house and no saying.
Ah.
So they really, whenever I find one like that.
This has a little castle
Oh, it does?
up there at the top. I think it's castle. What do you think that is?
Oh, yeah.
But it's funky. So
Mhm. So we'll throw that in our
nice.
probably like a medium or a small.
Yeah, does it tell you the stitch count? And like this is, it's printed on the, it's gonna be, it looks like hand drawn. I think that was hand drawn symbols.
Yes, that's how the Betsy Fisk one is too. 154 by 192.
Uh-huh. Cool.
So
Cool.
we really got to step it up with our shared supplies. I'm telling you. I think actually we need some fabric.
Okay. What fabric? I have it. You have the fabric right now. Oh,
I want to do a floss toss.
I know what my plan is.
Hmm.
Okay. Amity, the Hathaway Stitchers, she has done some really cute designs, and one of them it's called the Bird Herd or the Bird Nerd,
Yeah.
and it's either 4 or 5 birds. Well, we've had so much time with all 4 granddaughters together. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5, but I want to do 4 of the birds and put their initials under each one because
Cute.
I feel like
So
they
cute,
are
Carolyn.
like just little birds like flitting all over the place doing their stuff. So that's actually, in fact, I want to take some linen home today.
Okay.
That's what I want to start. Okay, that's my plan. I'd forgotten about that until talking about that.
I like it.
All right, thumbs up.
Time for thumbs up.
Okay.
I chose things I love about the beach. Number 1.
Let's talk about what our beach is like here.
Well, that's kind of going to weave itself in naturally. Very different from the East Coast beach in the United States. To get to the beach from where we live, you have to drive over a hill. So even if you drive straight north or south for 2 or 3 hours, you have to pop over a hill to get to the beach. And to me, the hills are beautiful, even though I get car sick. There's usually like redwood trees. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, this wide expanse, and it's so much cooler on the other side of the hill.
Yeah, the climate's completely different on the other side of the hill.
And because of that temperature difference, sometimes on top of the hills, or I call them cloud blankets. I think we've talked about this before on other videos. So there's just like this white in the shape of the hill, a little bit of
Like
fog.
a fog layer.
Yeah.
Marine layer.
So I love driving over the hill and then experiencing that like wide expanse, or like the first sparkle of the water as you go over the hill and all of a sudden you can see the ocean. I mean, like that makes my heart sing every single time. I love walking in that firm sand that's right on the water's edge. We have to like scoot away from the waves sometimes, but just feels nice to walk on it. And
Cold.
that sound of the wave, like our ocean, even on a non-stormy time, is like the power. Like you do not want your toddler playing in it.
No
like
way.
it's powerful and it's very loud, and it instantly it makes me feel more relaxed. And sometimes like. We went yesterday, I'll put one picture up here. It was pretty foggy and then like very sunny all within a couple of hours. So that mixture of fog and sun. And last, because I really like to identify birds, I just love looking at the seabirds, whether it's pelicans or cormorants or loons or sandpipers, whatever's hanging at the beach that day. It's always like a little like bonus to the beach. So the beach. Thumbs up for the beach.
Nice.
Did I miss anything about the difference
Beach.
between our beach?
Just cold. Like the water is cold. Anybody that's in the water for like surfing typically wears a wetsuit. And it's often like windy too. So you typically would not go to our beach and get into a bathing suit and hang out on the beach in the sun. Usually you're like huddled up. It's more like going there and walking. I mean, people do bring chairs and stuff, but and you can splash in the water, but it's cold, it's rough, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So maybe
It's
just
beautiful.
toes. When we go to the beach, I almost always bring my sun hat, a beanie, a down vest, and my winter coat, because I never know. Even if you look at the weather, you never really know what you are going to need.
Right. When you go over that mountain, you don't know what you're going to get. All right, I have not put any thought into my thumbs up, so this is going to be improvisational. My
What
thumbs up.
spills out of Carolyn today?
Okay, what's going to spill out of my head? One that is going to spill out of my head is, just like a thumbs up time with grandkids. And what's been really fun is, because it's summer, I'm not working really. I have to go in. I'm not really working. The whole day can be that. Like I kind of have kept my calendar pretty open. So I have nothing I'm rushing to. And so I have that luxury here. Thumbs up to the luxury of time.
Nice.
So, for example, the older granddaughter is in a camp this week, and so I've been taking the younger one in the morning. And we went to the park and the library, and then we went to the Michael's to get art supplies, and we're coming back. That we walk most places, but that we had to drive to. And she's like 2. She goes, "Drive car?" I'm like, "Sure." Like she can sit out there and pretend like she's driving the car. Like I'm in no rush to go anywhere. And like my son was like, yeah, like at home she wants to drive the car, but we got to get in, we got to go lunch, and there's work. So just that luxury of time and just to be on that kid's schedule of whatever they want to do. So thumbs up to that. I'm going to give a thumbs up to my honey Hayes. And then I'm going to give a thumbs up. Joan, when she was visiting, was telling me about, she has this app called Plum Village. It is the Thich Nhat Hanh Plum Village. It was it's a monastery in his teaching in France. But they have a great app, and they have a mindful bell that you can turn on. So she was telling me about that, and I turn on my mindful bell for every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, I get a buzz on my phone, and you're supposed to, whatever you're doing, stop. I'm on Do Not Disturb right now, so I didn't get it. Stop talking, stop moving, take 3 breaths, and then keep going. And it's been great, because sometimes you're like in the middle of doing stuff, and you get the bell, and you're just like, and it feels great.
When Joan was visiting, when I first heard her sound on her phone, I was like, "What is that? What is that?" And then by the end of her visit, we were all doing that. Like, oh, there's I think she has hers every 20 minutes. I got to tell you one funny thing before we say goodbye. Our 6th graders went strawberry picking at the end of the year, and we're gathering, and there was a car in the parking lot with like 3 or 4 kids and 1 parent, and one of the kids was in the driver's seat, and all of a sudden we heard this vroom, like a very fast accelerator. And I'm in charge of, 66 graders that are right in front of this car. It was so scary.
The car was on?
Yes. Now, the brake was like, the car did not move, but we literally went to the window and asked the parent, will you please turn off your car? That was really scary. He was buckling people in and...
Oh, he may have had the car on just to get it warmed up or cooled down.
It was so scary.
Oh my gosh. Well, when my granddaughter was driving the car,
the engine was off.
It was off and the parking brake was on and we were on a flat
Yes.
surface.
And what child does not like to do that?
She's that, and then all the buttons. She's well, not our car, like the hazard buttons. Then she found if you put the visor down, there's a mirror. She's like, "Ooh, is that me?"
Love it.
So it's really fun. Then we went
Okay,
and
so
had Bill
if
cheese.
your toddler is playing in the car, please have the engine off.
Please have the engine off and the parking brake on. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Until next time,
Happy crafting.
and stay curious.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.